Dr. Greg Paqua here, chiropractor up on White Plains Road in the Bronx. There was a decision lately by a federal judge that set aside a proposed settlement between the NFL and the players, retired players, that are claiming that they've been injured from the numerous concussions they sustained as players. This was not the union suing the NFL. This was retired players and their attorneys. They originally set aside $765 million to cover future costs of the injuries that these players claim that they have. Now, it has been proven that concussion is a big problem in the NFL, and we know that helmets do not protect you from concussion. So they tried to change rules of no head-to-head contact, no leading with the head, and other things, because the NFL has to show that they're not negligent. Because if the courts actually find that the NFL is negligent, then they're going to ask them for more money in damages besides what they are putting aside. So they're trying to change the rules to show that they're trying to address the problem. Now, my personal feeling is what happens to the kids playing in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The high school kids playing 4 years, the college kids playing 4 years. We've got right there 12 years of kids playing tackle football, and they're not getting paid. They're getting nothing. And 12 years sometimes is longer than pros play. What happens to them in concussions? Again, we know that helmets do not protect you. They'll only protect you from blunt trauma, from lacerations, from fractures, but they're not going to protect you from that banging of your brain inside your skull. The brain just goes back and forth and bangs on a concussion. That's how they get injured. So you got a lot of kids here also, and none of this money is going to them. And also, it's more difficult for a kid playing football to change their style of doing things. A professional athlete, if you tell them not to go head-to-head, they may actually be able to incorporate that coaching into the way they tackle. But a kid is a kid. You tell them not to go head-to-head, and they're going to say, oh, coach, I forgot. And also, a kid wants to play, too. And a kid might not know the seriousness of these concussions. They might lie to the coaches and say, oh, I feel fine. This is a whole nother story, but it has nothing to do with the money being set aside. So, this judge says that if only 10% of retired players make a claim on concussions, that this $765 million is nowhere near enough. So what do we go up to? $1 billion? $2 billion? How much is going to be set aside? Where does the money come from? Well, the NFL, they have revenue streams of all the TV contracts, all the television, all the games that we see on TV. That money goes to the NFL, does it? All the sale of NFL merchandise goes to the NFL. I'm sure that teams also pay something to the NFL dues. Teams get to keep their parking concessions, ticket prices, little radio deals that they make, but all that other money is to the NFL. Now, the NFL, at the end of the day, end of every year, they have a meeting, and they decide how they're going to allocate this money. Of course, it goes evenly to all the teams, all the TV money, merchandising money, but they also have to keep a certain amount in the NFL for their expenses. Now, if they have these expenses of billions of dollars they have to put aside, that's less money going back to the teams, which means at some point, when the union goes to the teams and wants to renegotiate a contract, now the teams are going to say, well, we just put aside $3 billion, so we're making less money from television and merchandising and everything else, so we don't have as much money to pay your salaries. So we're going to have to make a lower salary cap this next contract. We're going to have to give less money to the players. I'm not real sure the players are going to like that either. So this is a problem for everybody. The players want their money, and they might actually see less money if this settlement does not go through and they have to pay more. The union wants to keep their players happy, and they don't really want to go after the NFL for this concussion money, because then the active players are going to be making less money. The NFL is going to be making less money, the team. So this is a big problem all the way around, especially considering there's really no way to reduce the incidence of concussions. Hopefully with the rule changes, but there's still people getting concussions. Signing off, Dr. Paqua, up here on White Plains Road in the Bronx.